Alex C, back pocket. Okay.
Hey, voice. All right. Use your voice all day. Use your voice, okay? Yeah. Swannaroos on 3. 1, 2, 3. Swannaroos. Let's go, boys. 1, 2, 3, 3.
Strong in that quarter was fantastic.
2025 marks the 20th anniversary of the advent of the women's division at the USAFL Nationals. In 2 decades, the women's game has grown in leaps and bounds, with the growth of the national team and even an American going over to play in AFLW. At the keystone and the heart of that are 2 teams from the East Coast, and they will do battle here on neutral ground here in Oaks, Pennsylvania at Lower Perkiomen Valley Park to determine the Northeast Regional Champions for 2025. It's the New York Magpies and the DC Eagles. Good day, everyone. I'm Brian Barish, joined for this game by Pat Machado. And Pat, these are 2 teams, I know you've called a lot of Aussie Rules, women's Aussie Rules the last couple of years. It's amazing how well the skills have gotten better. And, New York and D.C., these 2 are rivals on, but also, New York and D.C., just in general, it doesn't matter what the sport is, it's always going to be a cracking contest.
Yeah, New York and any city that's along the eastern seaboard are definitely going to be some feelings in it. There's a lot of parallels to sports rivalries in every single sport, so of course it's going to carry over to here. And as you mentioned, this is a division that's seen tremendous growth over the last decade, and only going to continue to grow as the years go on.
Now, New York when they were last at Nationals, these 2 teams when they were last at Nationals, New York combined with Denver and ended up finishing with a record of 1-2. They did take the scalp of the then 7-time defending national champion Golden Gate Iron Maidens. DC coming off of an 0-4 run in Division II a season ago at Nationals. None of that means absolutely anything. And part of that, one, I think both teams are evenly matched. The other thing we have to talk about is this weather. It's been wet, but the sun is starting to come out a little bit, and that's going to affect the play as well.
Yeah, the rain is forecasted to continue to go on for the next couple hours, but it will clear up as we enter the later part of the afternoon. So a little bit slick surface as of now, and it's going to probably stay that way through these next 40 minutes of play, but the evolution of this ground will be something that we'll be paying attention to as the day goes on.
Captain's in the middle of the ground right now, Caitlin Spear for the DC Eagles, and you see the team for the they are led by Drea Casillas. As we mentioned, Drea having played, this is her 25th season of USAFL, actually her 20th season of USAFL. We mentioned the beginning in 2005, and here she is playing across 21 seasons if you count 2020. But the Magpies, they do have a lot of talent, and you see there they will also have a couple of the players. Looks like they might have, well, I was going to say, I saw a couple of blue socks in there as well. They're going to have a couple of borrowees from the DC Eagles to help make up the numbers. North Carolina, there's one North Carolina player in there as well. Shannon Parker for the New York Magpies. DC has, I believe, one player from the Philadelphia Hawks in Caitlin Tilstead. We'll double-check the roster in just a moment. And just so you know, we'll be a little bit behind on the rosters and the numbers and everything, but we'll get that to you straight away. And it looks like the Eagles will be kicking to the left of screen towards the creek end, while the Magpies will be kicking to the right of screen towards the Turf Club end. First half about to get underway, and here to get us started is Patrick Machado.
Ball tossed up in the air. New York won the tap, but it spills out to DC as they'll look to go up the right side of the wing. Turned immediately over to the Magpies. They'll play it towards the boundary. Palmed forward by the DC Eagle. Picked up by New York. Here's the kick inside 50. One-on-one spoiled out by DC. New York picks it up, though. Here's a kick to the front of goal where it's marked by the only player standing in front. DC back the other way.
And out the far side they go, and now it'll drop in front. That is Malabanan, who has the football, able to get it free. Kicks this one up high, and over to take the mark is Drea Casillas, the Secretary of Defense, although she is now across the left wing, and expect to see her play more of a rover role in this game. Ball gets knocked free, going to get picked up, little shovel pass. Ball goes down, handball up onto the far side, going to get cleared out and banged out the far side now. Going to go, umpire says play on, going to get picked up. up, looking for a target. Now swings around on the far side, and the ball goes up on the far side. It'll roll, it'll skip, but it's going to get picked up all the way in the back there. Looks for a right. Now kicks that one off to the left foot. Stays up on the wing position. That I believe is Eunice Corona in there, the 19th. Nope, somebody else. Malabanan is taken down. Ball, cried the crowd. Umpire says it will be a free kick, and it was picked up there by the Magpies. Up on the far side now, no score, 90 seconds in.
Far side, forward pocket, and New York's attacking goal. Swimming away from the defenders. Ball still stuck on the ground, picked up by New York, wrapped up in the tackle, got the handball away. Very congested in this early going. It's toe poked out into the corridor, picked up by DC. Now they look to move forward, find some space, little low kick goes past its target. Going to switch it to the open wing, and New York will pick it up.
Good battle in there as Danielle Gallagher against Caitlin Spear. Now going to get picked up. Here comes the first sortie inside 50. Looking for Claire Conley, who takes the mark. Thought to play on. Now she has to. She backs away from McLeod. Didn't get a good kick. And now who's going to control this? Almost had to stop it in self-defense. Left-footed kick on the way. It's going to sail through for behind. First score of the game comes 2.5 minutes in as DC leads 1-0. There's raindrops, I hear. I'm not sure. I hear a lot of crinkling, but I don't know.
It is.
It was, and it will go through. So it is 1-0. And that is something, as Pat said, we're going to be dealing with all day. It was absolutely pissing down earlier in the second game. In the beginning of the second game, is Dubbo, New South Wales' Lucy McLeod sends that one out to the near side for Gallagher. Finds a target. Now is going to send this one forward. Grace Hinchin, that is, I believe, as we mentioned. Her brothers both play for Philadelphia. Grace is based up in New York. Big swing, no contact. Big bump put in there. Just got taken down, played out in front. Malabanan able to get it free. Big tackle. Did she drop the pill? Umpire said play on. She just got it away. Big hug in there, and we'll have a ball up in the center square. 3.5 gone here in the first half. 1-0 DC the lead.
Pretty physical affair here, too, in the early goings. 3.5 traveled here in the opening term. DC with the one behind. Umpire calls for it. It'll be a ball up center of the ground.
It'll be interesting to see, Pat, really how both teams handle things defensively, especially the way these conditions are changing.
It's one of those things that speed and physicality will become probably the going factor of this game. You can force mistakes a lot easier with this slick surface. Mark taken in stride by New York, number 93. You'll know who she is. I do not. Here's the kick inside 50 off the hands of a DC player. Try to tackle from behind. Picked back up by DC. Sent into the middle of the ground. Hot, congested footy. Falls down. Picked up by New York. As they are forced back in defense. Got the handball away.
Sam McCading, I think, the 19
Hard
in there.
tackle down, and the umpire will call for it.
And McCading doing fantastic in there, and she is a veteran. Great to see her back on the side. Danielle Gallagher as well. Just had a baby last year. Ball goes back in the air once again. And the ruck got hit in the eye there for DC. Ash Malabanan able to play it on. Big hit in there. A spear trying to go after the football. And rather that is not Caitlin Spear, but in any event, it will be a ball up again. So the Magpies, the women, they have won 5 regional championships. They won the Central Region in 2015 when they were combined with Columbus to beat Minnesota. They defeated a mixed team from 4 different clubs to win when it was on home turf in 2016. 2017, they combined to win over Columbus and lost to a Baltimore, Washington, and Boston combined side in a thrilling game in the wet just on the field behind me in 2018. They didn't come to regionals a season ago. They had an 0-3 performance in 2023 And here is Casillas who gets the ball. There was that three-way tie in 2022 that was won by Philadelphia. And now here come the middle of the ground. This is Hinchin. Has a bounce. Big swing, but couldn't get it. There is Amy Wilson who went for the football, the coach, in going out after it. There is Liz McCaskill. That is the 93. Presses out to the far side. Over and after it is there's a set of three sisters there. We'll double check the name. I'll go back and look. I think it's the Burnett sisters. There are three sisters, young sisters, all from Queanbeyan, played in AFL Canberra, and they're all playing on this DC side. We'll see what kind of impact they have. Gardner, thank you. That was Izzy Gardner, I believe.
Got another congested ball as the crowd forms. It'll be a ball up, half forward. New York Magpies attacking into the ground. 6.5, 7 minutes traveled in this opening term. Still just the one behind for DC. Been a very up and down game in this early stretch. Gang tackle on the edge of 50. Umpire will call for the ball. So New York threatening. They haven't been able to get a good shot on goal thus far, but a lot of time spent in that forward half. Here's a scoring shot attempt, and that's going to dribble and bounce to the right over the line. Boundary throw deep inside forward 50 for New York. So what can they do with this? Ball flung back into play. Sails up and over the crowd. Back at the center of the ground, around about 50 out. Kicked off the deck. One-on-one in front of goal. Now a DC player comes in to help. Wrapped up in a tackle. And looks like DC will get the clearance. Picked back up by New York, though. 4 DC Eagles there to provide immediate pressure, and clearing kick will settle it down for DC.
That is Imogene Gardner, who is in there in the ruck for DC. And there's a shot for goal by Hinchin. Ball is loose in front. Everybody's still on their feet. Big takedown in there by Courtney Bree. And let's see what the umpire called there. It was a huge tackle in there by Bree. And it looks like it'll be a ball up. That's Amy Wilson who's calling for the ball up. She nominates against Bree. Wilson slaps it back towards her own sticks. Bree is in there as well. Little toe poke off the carpet. There's McCaskill into the knees of Bree, just getting it free. McCaskill again, and almost keeping it in the field of play, but then seeing it over. It went off the hands of the 18 and Kathleen Very. So on the Tasmanian scoreboard with 9 minutes gone, it's 1-1 here in this women's match of the Northeastern Regionals. Brian Barish and Pat Machado. They come out to the near side now, looking for a player as DC has it up on the far side, trying to work the ball free. And as the rain picks up, it is again going to be like this again off and on, but I mean at least it's somewhat bearable and there's no wind, so that's good at least. Ball is up on the far side, going to get picked up high in the air. And there is Amy Gardner once again. Going to get kicked forward. Chasing back is Casillas. Gets by McLeod. There's Conley. Gallagher now has to be activated as a defender. There's Casillas who tried to pick up the football. Couldn't get to it. As Jerry Long gives us the windshield wipers, and we'll have a ball up on the far side.
I think he's going to be standing here all day with the way this is going.
Yeah. Drea Casillas, New Mexico native, helped found the team alongside Christina Licata back in 2008. As there is Tilsed's kick. Caitlin Tilsed, based here in Philadelphia. She is from Perth originally and played for the Perth Angels in the Perth Football League.
So 9 minutes to go in this opening half. 1-1's the score in the Tasmanian scoreboard. Center of the ground, picked up by Cassidy Powers of New York. Takes a moment. Low dribbling kick. Look at that bounce all the way through to Josephine Hawley, who's got an empty goal square. Goes kick just slipped off. Again, the consequences of this wet ground. But New York still threatening in front of goal. McCaskill tries to get one forward. Cannot get the kick away. Picked up by Josephine Hawley. Wrapped up in the tackle. Spills out the back. Very congested here in the Magpies forward 50, and DC gets the clearance.
Out to the near side now as Conley was in there. Now they play it out to the near side where it's going to get picked up. Oh, a great little shake and bake by Hinchin. Left-footed kick. She looks like her brother's absolutely from the same stock. Wilson tries to clear it out and does throw. Hinchin's going to go after going after Imogene Gardner. Now gets free. So too there is Amelia Gardner, and the ball will get wrapped up. It is Isabel Gardner of Imogen Gardner and Amelia Gardner, the three youngsters from Canberra on this DC side. Going to get picked up, cuts to the inside. That is Tilsad, who finds Ashley Forster, who sends this one down the ground. Trying to get in front of it was Rachel Atherfold. Atherfold couldn't get to it. Gallagher could, and now she gets a great shepherd in there by Drea Casillas. Veteran play, sending this one down, looking for Hinchin. She has all the time in the world. She could serve afternoon tea. I could go for that. Looks for the handball, looking for Hawley. Hawley now gets to it but couldn't get in the hall, and able to get this one out to the near side where one hops again on Forster, who kicks that one off to the left, looking for Gallagher. Bounced off of her hands. Again going after it again is Atherton, able to get this one outside. Got a little bit of a push in the back on Katie Kowal, the captain. Kowal stays with it, ties up Casillas. Umpire crosses himself like the first Monsignor of Australian rules football, and we'll have a ball up directly in front of yours truly and Patrick Machado in this 1-1 game with about 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, umpire really letting them play here in this matchup. Gets the handball away. Picked up by Caitlin Tilsett of DC. Kick into the corridor. Couldn't be handled originally. Tackled immediately. Thought a whistle was going to originally come. I thought she was gone, and finally the call does come, and New York will get the free kick.
Recognize a lot of the recruiting efforts, and Caitlin Tilsett, of course, as we said, based here in Philly. They were down at Philly Pride on Sunday. I was there as well, of course, based here, and it was great to meet so many new people and hopefully get some recruits out to play this wonderful sport of Aussie Rules football. And if you are watching and want to play as well, check out our website, AussieRulesUSA.com.
So the number 28, which you do not have on our roster for New York, gets the play moving back once again as the umpire recalled the original kick. Picked up by New York. Center of the ground. Team's bench side of the ground, and there to take the intercept mark for DC was number 21, who I do not have the number for as well.
We're just doing great with that,
aren't we?
That's
going to be a theme today, it sounds like, isn't it?
It wouldn't be a USAFL tournament if we had one.
Especially
if
the USAFL regional tournament.
Yep. Well, in the last game, Philadelphia had a couple of duplicate numbers, and we were doing our best around that. Well, so it'll be a free kick, and it will be, I believe that's Very, and she ski jumps this ball in the air. It drops in front. The race is on. Chasing after it is Kowal. And here is Grace Hinchin, who picks up the ball. Hinchin running free, looking for somebody where she was caught, and she is Gone gone. And raising her hand was Amelia Gardner, the teenager. And she has acquitted herself well. 1-1 the score here in this first of two 20-minute halves. The two teams will play again at 3 o'clock, but they will mix up the teams and essentially so that the women can get more of a run and a chance to play alongside new players, as this is Bree who gets the ball. I mentioned some of the other teams that were involved. We'll talk about that in a moment. As a big tackle, looked like she was on for 7 seconds. The umpire says, give that to me. The ball is going nowhere. We mentioned some of the other players. Parker from North Carolina is playing for the Eagles, while Tex Hall from Virginia is playing for the Magpies.
So center with the goals on the New York Magpies attacking 50. DC gets the clearance away. Amy Wilson will continue it on further. Ball off hands, spills into the corridor. Little kick just to keep the play going, but New York will eventually take over. Uncontested, center of the ground. Stops for a second, plays on. Having a bounce is Grace Hinchin. Now she kicks it to the edge of 50. Ball bounces into the forward pocket. McCaskill on the ball now. Tries to spin around. Couldn't get the kick away. Right in front of goal. Picked up by number 21 for DC. Back into the forward pocket. Ball on the ground. Players go to ground as well. It looks like it's not moving. Umpire will call for it. New York wants a free kick. None coming. Ball up. Forward half. In the New York end.
Tossed in by league co-founder Plugger O'Keefe. Ball comes to ground. McCaskill throws it on the left, right into the breadbasket of Kathleen Very, and she's able to get it out quick, fast, and in a hurry. It drops in front. Everybody has to go at it. Mela Bannon is there as well. Going to get Shepard on, pushing and shoving the ball forward. There is Cassidy Powers for New York, and the umpire says we have holding off the ball. You have to have the ball in order to be tackled, and here is Emma Kading. Kading will go all the way back. She'll fancy her chances, but only takes 2 steps and goes in short. Drops in front, gonna get picked up, and shedding one tackle, trying to get through. Big kick, but it was smothered in front there by the 27. In fact, it was off of McCall Brommelkamp. That's the name if I've ever heard one, and it goes through for a behind, but it's good enough to give the New York Magpies the lead on the Tasmanian scoreboard with 17, almost 17 and a half minutes in the books. New York leads 2-1. Brian Barish alongside Pat Machado. Glad to have your company as well. Thanks to the production crew led by Jerry Wong to put on the action here. And the mark is taken by Ash Malabanan. Born in Saudi Arabia, will look for the near side, out looking high in the air. It'll drop in front looking for Kowal, and the ball goes over the boundary line and out of bounds. We'll have a boundary throw in the offensive right half forward flank for the Magpies.
2 minutes left in this opening half. Ball flung back into play. Rucks cancel each other out. Lucy McLeod turns it over. Casillas now spots McCaskill, and she'll take the mark. Around about 25 meters out, almost directly in front, and New York will have a chance for the first major of the game.
Great forward presence by McCaskill. Let's see if she can convert.
Here comes the kick. It's online, it's going, and it's through! New York with the first major of the game. They move out to 1-2-8. DC, the one behind, 7 points. The margin for the Magpies on the Tasmanian scoreboard.
And McCaskill's strength there, Pat, was fantastic. She is doing incredibly well in those contested marks and those contested situations. And as a full forward myself, you have to have 2 things. You have to have the possession and the position, and you also have to be able to stay in front of your defender and present yourself as a target. And you saw a textbook case of that right there, and that has extended the Magpies' lead on the Tasmanian scoreboard with about a minute to play.
Well, you have to have possession in order to score, don't you?
That's true. Well, when you don't have enough caffeine in you, your E's and your O's, it's kind of like E's and I's, except I'd be from New Zealand. As the ball is out in the middle of the ground now, a bit of aggro twister happening, as our good friend Bill Robert would say. Playing 2 20-minute halves. And as we said, you're in this team formation. It's DC versus New York. They'll play again at 3:30. And we are running about a half behind, as scampering all the way back there was Mallory Fries. And that one is soccered off the ground by Grace Hinchin, who has done very well here. Conley going after Hinchin. Here and going to pick that one up was Forster. Out to the near side now. Forster couldn't get to it. Now goes in. McCaskill bumps her defender off. She has a wide open goal square, but the kick let her down, and it is going out on the full. My goodness, that would have been awesome. But again, we go back to the strength. Just a great bump to get her defender and very completely out of the play. All she had to do was square up.
Boot too, because the half is over.
And that is it for the first 20 minutes of play. And on the Tasmanian scoreboard, a very spirited first 20 minutes, seeing the New York Magpies 1 goal, 2 behinds, 8 points. DC 1 behind, 1 point only. Halftime thoughts from Pat Machado.
Yeah, it was a very up and down half for the first 10 minutes of this one. And then New York, who had a majority of the forward time in that first half, was finally able to get some scoreboard presence for all their efforts in that first half.
And yeah, Pat, I think that's one of the things, especially in a game where scoring is going to be at a premium, and there's only 9 points scored in this first half. The conditions are going to be about the same unless we see a big gloom cloud come through. So it'll be interesting to see what DC does. I think both teams are playing very well defensively. DC's defense has been tested more, but Claire Connolly is playing well. Very is playing very well, but that matchup, I think, against McCaskill, I'm wondering if you have to maybe put somebody who's going to be a little bit stronger in the contest back there. We'll have to see. I mean, Very's very good with her hands and everything else, but she's going to have to contest with the strength of McCaskill.
And you talk about the defense. I want to give props to New York for that. Their defense inside 50. It's been the difference.
There's a reason why they call Drea Casillas the Secretary of Defense. We'll be back with the second half of this women's game of the Northeast Region Championships of the USAFL from Lower Perkiomen Valley Park outside of Philly when we return to the 2025 USAFL Northeastern Regional Championships here on AussieRulesUSA.com.
This presentation of the USAFL is brought to you by Tasmanian. Quietly pursue the extraordinary. Cooper's, Australian made and owned. Cooper's Beer. Odin Mortgage and Tax. CyberSolve IQ, the cybersecurity partner of the USAFL. HBC Event Services. Premier Sports Medicine. Valley Forge Sports. And Visit Tucson Sports. Back here at the 2025 USAFL Northeast Region Championship presented by Tasmanian. Halftime of the women's game, the New York Magpies lead the DC Eagles 8-1 as the Magpies have scored 8 points in a row after that early little stab. Brian Barish alongside Pat Machado, and Pat, second half action, and really anything can happen. Both matches that we've seen before this have been very close. They've been very well contested. This game follows that pattern. The only question will be who will seize the initiative.
That it will, and I think the biggest coaching adjustment, like I talked about at the end of the half before we went to break, is DC going to be able to figure out how to get deep inside forward 50? Because the defense around the arc for New York has been incredible so far, and if they're able to break that, a goal could be the difference with the way these conditions are going.
It can be, and we'll say that in games like this and in this particular format, and it's not, people say, oh, well, it's a women's game is 8-1, but that has nothing to do with it. These conditions, this is the type of game that's very scrappy. We have seen high-scoring women's games in the past, so a lot of it is the conditions, but I think a lot of it is going to be the skills. I think New York may have the slight advantage in that, but don't count out, as we've mentioned the Gardner sisters, and I think especially Imogen Gardner is playing fantastically in the ruck. She's done that before. She's the oldest of the three sisters, but the defense is doing well. I mentioned in my preview how well that
Caitlin Spear is at those 1%ers. But we'll see. I think the big thing will be how they will be able to penetrate that defensive line, that very experienced back line for the Magpies.
And you talked about the format, too. I mean, these regional tournaments and national tournaments playing 2 halves instead of the 4 quarters that they might play over the course of regular season play between the matches organized between the clubs. And you saw it with McCaskill. She had more time than she thought she did on that final shot for goal. It was 10 seconds, mind you, so can't fault her for just trying to get it onto the boot. But it's a lot. It's like that in a lot of sports. You have more time than you think you do, and that's what causes the shots to go astray.
Second half about to get underway. Umpire tosses the ball to the heavens, and this second half is in fact off and running as the ball gets knocked forward, and now it's the DC Eagles turn to run towards the Turf Club end to our right. They're in the blue jumpers as Mallory Fries is in there in the ruck against the number 40 there in Powers for the Magpies as the ball gets knocked forward. Going and picking that one up and sending that one forward was Yolanda Newson. Sending that one in. It clangs off of a couple of players as Conley had it. Wilson, big diving mark attempt taken by Tilsett. You can tell she's probably one of the most experienced Australians on the field. Now, Bannon able to get to it. She was held up, and the umpire said she had no prior opportunity. So we'll have a ball up 1 minute into a scoreless second half. Still 8-1 New York. Powers nominates for the ruck against Fries. Be interesting to see what they do with Emmy Gardner as the ball goes to ground. There is Amelia Gardner who's in there as well. Ball gets picked out. Big swing as Kading just got a foot to it, and the ball is once again held up, and once again we'll have a ball up again. 8-1 on the Tasmanian scoreboard. New York the lead.
Edge of the square on the New York half of it, poked forward. On the ball now is Jacqueline Page. And here is Page looking to move forward for DC. Ball goes over the heads of everyone. Grace Hinchin picks it up. Ran down from behind by Katie Cowell. Spills out. Isabel Gardner with the kick inside 50. Ran into the forward pocket. Gardner with the squaring ball. And intercept mark taken by New York in defense.
Danielle Gallagher, who did a fantastic job of getting to it, the veteran. And that is a veteran back line, except she turns the ball over to Kowal. Or rather, that is Kowal. Kowal is on the mark. Has the ball ready. And will stride forward. Left-footed kick. Goes high in the air. 2-on-1 contest. Emmy Gardner couldn't get to it. Now Bannon is there. Dropped it. Gardner goes to pick it up, and the umpire says this ain't going anywhere. We'll have a ball up. New York, as we mentioned, 1-2 at Nationals combined with Denver last year. That one skids off the side of the boot, does find the field of play. Everybody on their horse going after it, going to get picked up by Tilsett. Great job by Tilsett, who holds that one up. The kick goes in front, but it's going to get picked off by Gallagher, who goes the other way, but had it smothered as the ball comes out free. Going to get picked up again. Tilsett throws that one onto the right, off of the hands, staying with it and going to pick that one up again was Amelia Gardner. Gardner went after it but couldn't get to it. Ball goes in, and there is Isabel Gardner against Danielle Gallagher. The size disadvantage in there, and absolutely no fear from Izzy Gardner, as able to get it free is Danielle Gallagher, and she finally clears it out for the Pies.
Gallagher up the ground. Tilsett couldn't take the mark for DC. Umpire calls play on. High contact spotted, and free kick will go the way of Tilsett. Play on the call, has to go on. Looks to the near side forward pocket. Takes a bounce, and New York will have a clearing kick. Back out to Tilsett at the center of the ground. Powers in there for New York, and she's on the bottom of that pile. Umpire crosses himself, and we'll have a ball up. 3:45 into this second half. 7 points to diff. New York in front.
Ball in the air once again. Going to get knocked down as Fries loses out. Going to get punched forward there by Newson, sending that one down into the pocket, going after the chase after it. Big pressure put in, and finally able to clear that one out as that one goes off the shins. Turning around is Amy Wilson. Handballs it in. Here is Newson, almost getting run down, and she did by Eunice Corona. or check that by the other 21 for DC. And we will have a free kick, and it is the unnumbered there 21. Goes out, drops in front, off the shins of Jacqueline Page. Page now battling with Kading. Kading stays with it. Comes out to the near side. Gonna get dropped. Gonna send this one down. It will drop in front. Going after to get it is Tilsad. Here is Caitlin Tilsad. What a good kick. It goes up high. Who wants it? Everybody. Off the fingertips there, and turning around and picking that one up there was Atherfold, who went after it. Ball goes down once again. Atherfold clears out room for Gardner as Imogen Gardner goes out. Handballs it over, picked off by Casillas, who finds, here is Tex Hall. Here is Deanne Tex Hall from Virginia, setting that one up forward now, over to get it. That one bounces off, staying with it, and now going after it and putting over ahead of the football was Izzy Gardner, I believe, sending that one back, and now again is Atherfold, gets it away there from Casillas. Clangs around, chasing after it again is Conley. Conley went after it, or checked that. That was Fries. Mallory Fries with the football, sending that one in towards chasing after it is McLeod, and adding a little bit of pressure there was Imogen Gardner, but the ball goes through for a score in the first one of the second half. First one in a while for DC. It's now one straight kick the difference, 8-2 on the Transylvanian scoreboard. That's something different on the Tasmanian scoreboard.
So mostly DC here in the opening stages of this second half. The pressure has been relentless. Here's New York looking to break it. Looks near side on the wing. Congested ball. Players run over it. Little kick into space just in front of us on broadcast side. Picked up by Yolanda Newsom. Off the deck, Jacqueline Page. Kicked back into the corridor. And picked up now by Grace Hinchin. Hinchin with the kick forward. McCaskill and number 21 for DC go shoulder to shoulder as the cavalry arrives. McCaskill with the kick. It just went off the outside of her boot and will dribble across the boundary line on the wrong side of the behind post, but it does well for New York in terms of territory. Throw in deep inside the forward 50 for the Magpies.
I would love to see, as much as that will be an advantageous position, I probably would have liked to have seen McCaskill hand the ball off, but all's fair there. That's essentially we're on the other side of the play there, and they're actually playing it. As the ball comes in, out of the pack, across the face and through for a behind. New York gets their first point of the second half. They go to 1-3-9. 2 behinds for DC here in this Northeastern Regional Women's match. Brian Barish alongside Pat Machado. Glad to have your company as well. Our thanks to Jerry Wong on the control board, and our camera person.
It's called the
Jose.
switcher.
What is it?
It's called the switcher.
The switcher.
You were going for the ones and twos, but that's audio.
Yes, this is your bag. I'm just the guy who yells into the microphone.
Yeah, I do that on my other job too.
As the ball goes down, here is Wilson, who sends that one free. There was Tilsad. It hit her in the face, and she thought it went behind her. In fact, it stayed in front of her, and she turned her back on it. Here is Fries as Tilsad was left on her haunches. There is Izzy Gardner going after it. Hall tried to take her down, just couldn't get it. She dropped the pill. No call. Umpire says let the record play. Fry's taken down from behind. No call. There is Hinchin over the top. Finds Casillas, and Casillas gets it out of danger, but turns it over, and only as far as Caitlin Tilsad on the far side of the ground. 8 1/4 minutes gone. 9-2 New York, second half.
Very deep on the wing. Team side of the ground. And it rolls over. We'll have a ball in. So far side, half forward. DC threatening once again. Flung back into play. Taken out of the throw-in on the full. Pat crashes the loose ball. Picked up by New York. Grace Hinchin tries to move it into some space. Bang back inside 50. Intercept mark taken by New York. They're going to look to switch the play here. No one here on the broadcast side of the ground. Picked up by McCaskill. No, it was Courtney Bree. Little low kick. Here is McCaskill now. Runs onto the loose ball. Good defense there by the number 21 for DC. McCaskill taken down. Umpire calls for the ball. Center of the ground, around about 55-60 out.
Good tackle in there by DC's Kathleen Very, but unfortunately didn't get the free kick. New York trying to push it forward. There is Very. Just kept the ball in the field of play. Sends this one down the line. Drops in front. Over to get it. There is Hinchin. There is Kowal, who had it and plays that one out on the far side. Going to get picked up by Malabanan. Malabanan will stay up on the far side. And there is Tilsed, but the ball hops once and then over the boundary line and out of bounds. It'll be a boundary throw in directly across from us. Coming up in the next game at 1:30, we go to round 2 of men's play as the, did I say 2:30? It's 1:30. It's round 2 of men's play. I say a lot of words, so a lot of words have been said, but it will be the New York Magpies taking on the DC Eagles. 1-0 New York against 0-1 DC, and then the 2 o'clock game between 0-1 Baltimore and 1-0 Philly as McCaskill takes the mark. She'll run this one on off the hand there, getting taken down there of Andy Hargrave. Interesting seeing not in the ruck. She was the ruck for the longest time as Conley saw through her hands. Picking that one up is Powers. She is dragged to the ground by Kowal, and she is Gone gone. Great tackle by the captain and Katie Kowal. And it'll be a free kick to DC. They trail by 7 points on the Tasmanian scoreboard with about 9 to play. Out the far side now, Tilsed picks it up. Just got the ball away, even though it went 5 meters. It keeps the play alive. Here is Hinchin, who goes back the other way. Wilson picks this one up, looks to her left, now looks to her right. Big tackle, and she is taken down, and she will also get pinged as well. And as a free kick to New York, a big crunching tackle. Actually, I don't think it was Wilson. It was the 14 in there. Wilson is wearing 24. In fact, it was Carolyn Chastka. And so it'll be a free kick for the Pies. They'll have it as they send the ball in, and it's marked by Courtney Bree. Both New York's teams, the men's and the women's, are good at leading, and it is a lot of Australians here on this New York side, and they are very good at their positions, especially in the forward line. As Bree, who's done very well alongside McCaskill, strolls in, leans back, lets loose. He got under that a little bit, and it affects the direction. It is through for a behind. DC will be okay with that because it wasn't a goal. Back to an 8-point lead on the Tasmanian scoreboard. New York 1-4-10. DC 2 behinds. 12 and a quarter minutes gone. Brian Barish alongside Pat Machado, whose voice you're going to hear now.
Here's Hannah Johnson, who just sees the ball over as the kick-in went a little bit wider than they would have hoped to have kicked it for. So another throw in deep inside, attacking 50 for New York. Shallow throw in. Kicked into the center of the ground. Little shepherd off, and umpire spots something. It will be a holding off the ball call. And Courtney Bree looks like she's going to get a ping at goal, I believe. Yes, it will be Courtney Bree. Pretty far out. It's going to lay it off on the far side wing where Elizabeth McCaskill is there to take the mark. She'll have the shot slightly closer, maybe about the same angle.
I don't think distance will be an issue here, Pat. She's very good, and I love her positioning in this game. She's really brought the New York offense to life.
She's directing traffic, and here comes the kick. It's good. It is through for a goal. 2 goals for New York.
And both off the foot of Elizabeth McCaskill, who is playing, I believe, in her 5th season with the Pies. They go to 2-4-16 on the Tasmanian scoreboard. DC 2 behinds with about 6 minutes to play. And New York, I think, really kind of showing their class. DC, we'll say this, DC has been playing well. they aren't getting beat in this game. They are really attributing themselves well, and I do like it, but you can really see and I will say we haven't gotten the player's name yet, whoever that number 21 is for DC, and I'm sure somebody will tell us at some point. But the biggest thing is that they made the switch out. That's been a more difficult matchup, but McCaskill has still found her way and able to kick another goal. So she has one on either side. It'll be a free kick to DC, however, and this is Imogen Gardner kicks one up on the far side through the hands of Wilson. Goes after the football now. Going to get picked up. This is Malabanan, who sends this one. Casillas is there to poke it free for Kading. Throws that one on the right out to the far side. Drops in front of the number 28. Now she's wearing Baltimore Docker shorts, so I'm wondering if it was a player that was at it at the last minute. But now cycling all the way back is McCaskill, who's come out. There is that number 28 once again. Running into her there was the 38 for DC. As they move the ball on, they soccer it on once again. That was Sauerhage for DC who went after it. There's a chance in front. Going to get scraped along the ground. Going to get picked up and cleared out by Very. Out to the near side now. Through the hands of Kading. Chasing in after it there is Newson. The ball is tied up and locked away like my secrets. And we'll have a ball up in the center half forward position for the Magpies, who lead 16-2 here towards the end of this second half.
14-point margin, 4 minutes to go here in the second half. Everything's got to go forward for DC. New York look to take advantage of their mistakes. A little handball to herself. Kicked up the ground. Bounce favors New York here. 2-on-1 at the fall of the ball. Cassidy Powers with the kick forward into inside forward 50 off the hands of a DC player. Back in defense. Palmed forward. Now DC will look to move it back the other way. Picked up once again by New York. And this sort of play favors New York as clock is beginning to become a factor here. Spinning around is Newson. Kick goes off hands. Picked up by number 21 for DC. High contact spotted by the umpire. And DC will get the free kick. 3:10 to go here in the second half as DC looks to claw one back.
And the Eagles have been playing, as we said, they've been playing strongly. Their players they've improved every season we've seen them, and they've managed to keep a very similar core. But very, very interesting to see how well the Gardner sisters do. They've all played strongly. So has Ash Malabanan, who takes the mark on the near side. Malabanan goes in short. One-on-one contest. Tilstead was getting held off the ball. Didn't get a call. There is Izzy Gardner, who kicks the ball, just gets it forward. Drops in front. Going to get picked up by Conley. Finds Tilstead. Good job there. Conley on the 1-2. Couldn't get to it. Chatska is there. Off the foot of Tilstead. Pushes it towards the goal. But only back there is Drea Casillas. And when Drea Casillas is by herself, it's always going to be her ball. Out to the near side they come. Malabanan can't get to it. Amelia Gardner can. Or Millie Gardner as she's known. And she is wrapped up by the 19 there in Emma Kading. Umpire Plugger O'Keefe tosses the ball to the heavens. We're underway again as Gardner this time, Amy Gardner knocks it back. Sister Amelia has it. Going to go forward. Going to get taken down by Kading. Could have been dropping the ball. No call. Going to get picked up. Swatted handball all the way back to Bree. Bree tries to move the ball forward. Took a while for her to pick it up. Goes in the middle looking for Powers. Powers now gets away from one defender. Left-footed kick. 3 bites of the ball. And what a nice mark taken.
Great effort there.
Back the other way. She had 3 bites of the cherry. Took a bite out of it and spit out the pit. Out to the near side. And a good sliding mark taken once again by Millie Gardner.
Gardner looks up the corridor. Looking up the middle. Everything has to go forward. Bouncing ball, one-on-one, help arrives. Everyone's running over it. Time ticks by. 1 minute to go here in the second half. New York comes away with it. Danielle Gallagher up the ground, just looking for space. Overrun, ball bounces ahead of everybody. Back with DC. But New York with the ball. Newson taken down as she tried to kick it. Gardner, little high skying kick, takes a bounce, and New York will send it back into the center of the ground. This one should be all wrapped up for the Pies.
Out the middle of the ground now, and DC not giving up one iota as Malabana gets knocked back forward. Funny how that works. Powers is in there as well. Comes out. Millie Gardner sends this one down. Going to go. It'll bounce. It'll skip. It'll go off, and rushing through like a bat out of you-know-where, but not picking up the football was Brommelkamp. And it'll be a free kick, and it will go the way of DC. Not much time left. In point of fact, we're showing less than 10 seconds. And here's one sent in by Page. Drops in front. Umpire says play on. Tilset is there. Just gets a foot to it. Pops in the air. Casillas had eyes for the ball all the way. And that is that of the New York Magpies. A celebration there by Millie Gardner, but I think it was a random celebration for DC. But it is New York who win the Northeastern regional game as they win their first regional title since 2019, and they have done so in a very spirited game against the DC Eagles. The final score: the New York Magpies 2-4-16, DC 2 behinds. A well-played game by all and sundry. It was a lot of fun to watch. The conditions I think affected things a bit, but that was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, New York survived that pressure from DC in the early part of the second half, and I think that's really what made the difference there, because DC was threatening. It could have been a lot closer than the scoreboard would suggest, and that's really all this is, a game of ebbs and flows, and if you can translate the pressure into score, it usually works out for you. But great defense by both sides, and it's New York that takes home the chocolates here in Philadelphia.
Very well. I think they were slightly ahead on both the midfielders and the forward lines. If you had the chance to pick the player of the game, who would you pick?
I would probably be McCaskill.
Yeah, she really grabbed the forward line. I really like the way of Emma Kading, too. I think she won a lot of the football in the middle of the ground. I would have to say, there was a lot of good performances for DC. I would probably give it to Emmy Gardner for her ruck work and also winning the ball in the middle of the ground. So that'll do it for this women's game. We go back to the men's side coming up. It'll be round 2, the 4th game of the day, as the New York Magpies take on the Baltimore Dockers. We'll have that for you when we return. You're watching the 2025 USAFL Northeast Regional Championships presented by Tasmanian here on AussieRulesUSA.com.
This presentation of the USAFL is brought to you by Tasmanian. Quietly pursue the extraordinary. Cooper's, Australian made and owned. Cooper's Beer. Odin Mortgage and Tax. CyberSolve IQ, the cybersecurity partner of the USAFL. HBC Event Services. Premier Sports Medicine. Valley Forge Sports. And Visit Tucson Sports.